I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party.
She's out as leader, finished as Prime Minister of America's closest ally after the shortest premiership in British history. 44 days of turmoil, political upheaval, financial chaos, and a historic policy reversal that whipped the party into a frenzy and left her own Conservatives in tatters. She was elected by 0.1% of the British population. She appointed to leadership only friends and like-mindeds, and that failed royally. Liz Truss is toast. Her fellow Tories are ticked.
This is an absolute disgrace. As a Tory MP of 17 years, I think it's a shambles and a disgrace. I think it is utterly appalling. It is a pitiful reflection.
That from her political ally. The Labour opposition, they're stark raving mad.
What a mess. And this is not just a soap opera at the top of the Tory party. It's doing huge damage to our economy and to the reputation of our country. And the public are paying with higher prices, with higher mortgages.
He's not wrong. And across Britain, people seem exhausted.
We just can't have this amount of turmoil. It's an embarrassment.
It just had to be done because things were in such a state of chaos.
We'll just wait and see what happens next.
I'm actually embarrassed to be British at the moment and to be a Conservative voter.
Well, it's an absolute disgrace. I'm delighted to hear that she's finally gone.
Stiff upper lips on holiday for the foreseeable future. The road to this meltdown short but treacherous. The political editor of our sister network Sky News in the United Kingdom may have said it best. Quoting Beth Rigby, "Today there's a collective sense of shock, rather like the aftermath of a car crash, where you emerge from the wreckage dazed and confused, asking yourself, what just happened?" It was very quick and very painful. 2 days after she became the Queen's 15th Prime Minister, she was confronted by a nation in mourning.
We are all devastated by the news that we have just heard from Balmoral.
When politics did return, she was on the defensive.
You're prepared to be unpopular, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
She pushed ahead with tax cuts for the rich and no way to pay for it. Her Chancellor of the Exchequer delivered the news.
I'm not going to cut the additional rate of tax today, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to abolish it altogether. That upended the markets, rocked the economy, and brought political unrest. So she fired her friend, the Chancellor, making him the fall guy.
Should Liz Truss resign?
Nobody bought it, and her authority never recovered. The man she thought could make things right and save her as Prime Minister tried, undoing all that had just been done.
Firstly, we will reverse almost all the tax measures announced in the growth plan 3 weeks ago.
That left Truss a Prime Minister with no identity. Last night, chaos, resignations, and nowhere to turn. Then this morning, the doors at number 10 swung open. Liz Truss emerged, alone and under fire.
Given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party. I have therefore spoken to His Majesty the King to notify him that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party.
What a 7 weeks. Wilfred Frost with us live from number 10, now an anchor for our sister network Sky News in the UK and a CNBC contributor. Wilf, now what?
Well, Shep, now we find out who will be next, and this leadership process will be a lot shorter than the one in the summer that selected Liz Truss. That took about 7 weeks. This one will be about 7 days. We'll know who the next Prime Minister is by Friday next week, if not before. Now, part of speeding that process up has been to massively increase the bar to get on the initial shortlist. Now you need 100 MPs by Monday at 2 p.m. of the total of about 370 Tory MPs just to get on the shortlist. Worth noting as well that this isn't a general election. It's not a vote of the whole country. The next one of those comes in December 2024. To bring it forward would require a vote of Tory MPs to say so. And the one thing that unites them at the moment, Shep, is trying to avoid a general election, because if it arrived right now with the polls as the way they are, all the Tory MPs would lose their jobs.
Labour in a landslide. Who are the favourites, quickly?
Well, the betting markets have installed Rishi Sunak as favourite. He, of course, came second to Liz Truss over the summer. Also in the running are the likes of Penny Mordaunt, who came third to Liz Truss in the summer, Ben Wallace, the Defence Secretary, and a name we all know well, the man, of course, that Liz Truss took over from, Boris Johnson, who does have a good chance. Rishi Sunak will hope that lots of people put their names forward so that only he gets over that initial 100 MP threshold and by default gets anointed as Prime Minister as soon as Monday, whereas Boris Johnson, the challenge is to get the initial 100 MPs support. If he does, he'll probably then do pretty well with the party members, as of course he's done in the past.
Boris Johnson, I thought that was over.
Well, so did we all, and so very, very recently as well. Extraordinary that it is possible he could come back to Downing Street just 2 months later. Though if the country and if the party is looking for a unity candidate to deliver stability, he might not be the right choice. He is divisive. Many people love him, but just as many despise him. Here, by the way, earlier today was the former leader of the Conservative Party, Lord Howard.
Yeah. I really do not think we can afford to go back to that psychodrama. Boris had his chance, and he failed to retain the confidence of Conservative members of Parliament. And that, I'm afraid, for all his undoubted talents, I think that has to be that in terms of Boris Johnson and the leadership of the Conservative Party.
It would round off what has been an extraordinary summer for British politics, and who wouldn't put it past happening. Either way, though, Shep, by Friday next week, we'll have our third Prime Minister in just 2 months. And what a crazy political summer it's been.
It's all Greek to me. Less tragedy than car wreck. Wilf, thank you.